It's a good time to be a gamer of a certain age. Retro-inspired games have found new footing in recent years, with many throwback and nostalgic IPs getting current-day releases that let players experience those franchises in ways they never could back then. Some look the part while using modern-day techniques for things like animation, while others recreate the experience exactly as it would have existed on old hardware. Rugrats Adventures in Gameland is very much the latter, and it lovingly presents the NES-era adventure that the Rugrats series never had. Gameplay essentially directly copies Super Mario Bros. 2. 4 playable characters with different stats, picking up and throwing enemies, horizontal and vertical level design, the list goes on. The mechanics don't go much beyond that game's basics, though various small additions like a ground pound and changing characters mid-level are some nice quality of life enhancements. Control is smooth and platforming is as solid as one could ask for from an NES-era game, which is to say predictable if slightly stiff at times. It's a very well-designed experience with precious few trouble spots in the levels themselves, though cracks do show in places like extended climbing segments. But wait, this doesn't look like an NES game, does it? Well, hold on to your diapies, because this game actually has 2 presentation modes. In its HD mode, seen here, the richly detailed art style very clearly evokes the original series and its unique, almost clumsy aesthetic. And while the backgrounds are quite dense and busy, the characters can lack some fluidity and expressiveness. Toggle a menu option though, and the game truly shines in its 8-bit mode. Here, every sprite, screen, and musical bleep are completely period accurate to a late-in-the-life-cycle NES game, and that's because, under the hood, Rugrats is one. At its core, this is an NES game with optional high-def sheen running on top of it. This 8-bit mode is even getting a dedicated NES cartridge release, which further speaks to its authenticity, and the entire experience, frankly, feels more natural this way. And since the HD mode was added after the NES game was built, that kind of makes sense. Okay, back to the gameplay. The game's 6 areas are presented non-linearly, so after the opening level, you can hop around between them at your leisure. Much like the show, each level represents the baby's imaginations transforming a part of the Pickles house, the kitchen, attic, sandbox, etc., into elaborate play fields for action and adventure. While any baby can fully complete a level, characters like Chucky and Lil with their enhanced jumping often make certain sections quite a bit easier, with coordinated play in the optional co-op mode further streamlining gameplay. No matter the stage, references and nods to the original series are plentiful, with everything from floating Cynthia doll heads and Big Boy Pickles to the robot cat from the opening credits making an appearance. There's plenty for eagle-eyed fans to find. 3 Reptar coins float around each stage as prizes for platforming challenges, with a 4th given upon beating the boss. These are essentially your progression gate, as you'll need to collect most, though not all of them, to unlock the last level, which brings everything together in a very satisfying, here's everything you've seen so far kind of way. This is a good way to structure the game, as it ensures that the exploration, which the level design heavily encourages anyway, almost always yields quantifiable results. Even with a bit of backtracking and replay, you'll be at the credits in an hour and a half or so, which is probably just long enough to be acceptable, though players who aren't as on board with those NES authentic design choices may not agree. The soundtrack uses the show's theme effectively, and it sounds good in both the HD and 8-bit modes. Don't be surprised if you catch yourself jamming to the final level or the boss theme. At its default difficulty, the game is very accommodating, with all 4 babies available and using separate health bars, though a harder option exists with 1 baby only, back to the beginning if you die constraints, for those who want a more, let's say, authentic, old-school challenge. And that authenticity is really what it's all about. Rugrats didn't get a video game until 1998, and Adventures in Gameland is a great representation of what could have been had the franchise got there faster. Strictly adhering to the NES's design limitations does put a ceiling on some of the experience, but it also serves as a love letter to a bygone era that many still hold near and dear. The game knows exactly who it's for, it doesn't overstay its welcome, and it sticks the landing with fun retro platforming from start to finish. So when you put it all together, Rugrats Adventures in Gameland gets 4 Gloobies out of 5. Though it may not resonate with everyone, Rugrats fans and lovers of classic game design will surely eat this up, and for that crowd, it's an easy recommendation. This review was conducted via a Steam key provided by the publisher. Thanks so much for watching. Stay fresh, cheese bags. We'll catch you back here real soon.